Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to tell you how to solve for a function or how to determine if an expression represents a function algebraically, so from an equation. Our strategy is going to be to solve for y in terms of x. A function is a set which assigns each element x exactly one element y, so if we can write y equals blah blah blah, then we can tell how many outputs there are for a given input. The examples will clarify what I mean. So here's an example. Here's an expression, x squared plus y equals 1, and I'm going to solve for y. So in this example, in order to solve for y, I'll rewrite the expression, and I subtract x squared from both sides, and that gives me y equals 1 minus x squared. So from this expression, you can see that if I plug in an x value, say 2, there is exactly one y value that I get out. So if I plug in 2, I get y equals 1 minus 2 squared, which is 1 minus 4, which is negative 3. So plug in 2, get out negative 3. That's good. That's a function. If I plugged in 2 and I wasn't sure whether I got out 3 or negative 3, say, then it would not be a function. But since I get a clear output, it is a function. So clear output means function. Let's do another example. This one's not going to be a function, as you might guess, because we want to see the difference between what an equation after we've solved for y, what a function looks like, and what something which is not a function looks like. So let's try to solve for y. I end up with, so we'll rewrite the expression. Oh, and this was supposed to say equals 1. Minus x plus y squared equals 1. So I'll add x to both sides, and I'll get y squared equals 1 plus x. If I'm trying to solve for y, now I need to take the square root of both sides. So square root, and I'll get y. And then on the other side, I'll get either the positive square root of 1 plus x or the negative square root of 1 plus x. So now if I plug in, say, 2 for x, well, do I plug it into this one or this one? It's sort of ambiguous. Another way you could do it is plug in x here and try to solve for y. Then I would have y squared equals 1 plus 2. So that says y squared equals 3. Well then, to get y, oops, I'm blocking, sorry. But plug in 2 for x into this equation, then I get y squared equals 1 plus 2, which says y squared equals 3. Solve for y. Well, y could either be plus the square root of 3 or negative the square root of 3. So because there are two options for y, this is not a function. So one rule is if you get y squared equals something, it is not a function. The same would be true if this were y to the 4th, because then when you take the 4th root, you also get this plus or minus happening. So a more general rule is if you can't get your equation to look like y equals blah, some expression, it's not a function. Because if you can't get it to look like that, then you're going to have multiple options for y. So I hope that this helped to clarify some of those issues about finding functions algebraically, and let me know if you have any other questions.